so the box is back out of the Sierra again. Okay. Why is that, Brett?
So, almost probably 11 months off the road, I decided it's time for a test drive. I've come a long way. Started it up, drove it around the street, everything was going alright. Got back into the driveway, put the clutch in, put the handbrake on, and the clutch went to the floor.
And why is that?
That is why. The splines off the throwout shaft have decided to crack off and leave me stranded.
Yeah, that is a real shit spot to snap.
Yeah. So obviously...
So show us how does it normally work when it's in one piece?
So if that's on there, you slide that on, and then your clutch cable connects onto this. You pull that.
Yeah, so throw-out bearing.
And that pushes your throw-out bearing, which obviously does all its magic and unicorns.
Alright, so you've obviously been doing your research on how to fix this.
Yeah,
so give us the lowdown.
So the way they recommend to replace the entire shaft, because you can't actually buy new ones of this whole assembly, and like you'd think it'd be easy, you just knock it out, but these arms are welded here, so you can't go that way and you can't go that way. The only alternative is you got to get your rubber seal out. You got to get a plug out on this side.
Yeah.
And then there's two brass bushings that hold the shaft to, you know, stop the free play. So you got to get your throwout bearing off, your spring off. You got to try and punch that brass bushing out that way. There's another one in here. You have to punch out this way, and then you can get enough wiggle room to kind of get him out of there.
Yeah, and it's still, looking at the tolerances, it still looks like it'd be a prick of a job.
Yeah, and you know, how do you know you're not just going to break another one?
That's it.
Because I do have a spare, but it's $60 worth of parts. No, it's $15 worth of parts and about $45 worth of shipping from the US.
And the time of waiting.
Yeah, and obviously waiting. So I think we're going to go with Carl's method.
Right, so originally it would have been good to obviously basically weld that back on, so like a full circumferential weld around that. And then if the splines weren't right on that breaking point, it would have been good to basically kind of weld a socket, I guess, to bridge the two and weld around both sides of that. But we're thinking if we can basically drill out center of that and center of the broken off bit and basically tap maybe an M8 or an M6 bolt or a stud basically in both sides, tighten that right up and then weld it. So it just gives us a bit more extra reinforcement, I guess, instead of just doing a straight butt weld, which it probably would be alright, but
you never
for
know.
Something like this,
yeah.
I know you're getting pretty good at taking the box off.
Yeah, it takes me about an hour to get the box out.
But it's be nice to enjoy the driving
properly.
Yeah. So
especially like it's lucky it happened in my driveway.
Yeah.
It could have happened anywhere and I would have been stranded.
So shall we? This is totally uncharted territory, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone would have done this before. So everyone was pretty surprised that it happened to snap there.
Yeah.
I have a feeling it was something to do with doing my old, when I was trying to get the old clutch to work and had the wrong pressure plate and all that.
Probably weakened it.
Yeah. So we'll see. Because it's actually a really easy clutch to push in.
So while we're on the topic of gearboxes, Brett is going to tell you guys something very interesting that he only just found out after many weeks of struggling, trying to get a clutch pedal.
New clutch cable.
Alright, you tell the story.
Alright, so I had everything apart. I got the new gearbox, put that in. I had everything tensioned up the way it should be, clutch adjusted where it should be according to manuals and all that. Started the car, everything was fine. I could shift through gears when the car was off. Then when the car was on and I pushed the clutch in, it wasn't disengaging. And it was like the clutch pedal was just hitting a wall and you couldn't go any further than that. So I put a new clutch cable in it because everyone said try that, it's cheap, easy fix. No dice. Then I was like, bugger this, I'll pull the box off, I'll suss everything out. Everything looked fine. The clutch setup was all the way it should be. clutch can only go in one way because obviously that'd hit the flywheel.
Yeah.
That goes in the way it has to go. So yeah, I was like, well, I got no idea what's going on. I took a few photos and then Carl said, oh, hold on, those teeth look a bit, what do you call them?
Yeah, the pressure plate teeth.
Yeah,
or
the teeth.
fingers.
The phalanges looked a bit too close to the clutch.
Yeah, something looked a bit off.
So rather than pretty much sitting like how it is, maybe a little bit closer, this part of the clutch was actually right up against it. So when I was trying to push the clutch in, it was just hitting this surface here and wouldn't actually release anything.
Yeah.
That was with a new clutch kit. So I was like, hold on, let me do
So
something.
you basically bought an extreme clutch kit for
a
a...
heavy-duty clutch kit for a Sierra of this model, everything ready to go. I got the machine flywheel back in, yeah, that one. Yeah, so I was like, well, nothing can be wrong. Maybe part numbers are wrong. All the part numbers lined up. Everything was good to go. So yeah, I took it apart and I said, well, look, the old setup worked, so I'll try some shit. And I took the old pressure plate and I put it with the new clutch disc. This is the old clutch disc. And I put it on there, and then I realized that the old pressure plate actually sat a decent bit further off than this one did. And it's something to do with where this surface actually sits inside the rest of the assembly. So quick fix was just new clutch plate, old pressure plate, put it all back together and it worked.
Yeah. So then later on you found out,
yeah, later
you've been
on,
asking on all forums and everything.
Yeah, and no one knew. They were all like, try this, try that. I did everything. And yeah, finally the original owner of this car, which was like 2 owners ago, said, oh, it's got a different type of flywheel in it. Which I didn't obviously know, because looking at all pictures, they all look the exact same.
They can't be too much different, surely.
It's probably got
Just
some sort
height
of, yeah, a little bit of different height. Or, yeah, so I think the one that's in there is for an SJ410, which is the model before the 413, which this is. So next time, I'm going to buy a new flywheel, new clutch, new everything to suit. I'll buy it as a package, and then we shouldn't have any dramas.
Yeah. So there's a helpful bit of information for you guys.
Yeah.
Because that was an absolute nightmare.
I was so
It was like
close.
weeks,
I was
a
ready
couple
to
of
go.
weeks of,
Yeah.
oh my god.
And then this.
Yeah, and then this.
Endless fun.
Let's fix this
and learning.
motherfucker.
Yeah, looks pretty good.
Alright, so because we don't have a machine shop, we're doing this on a la bench. First thing we've done, we've basically located where this was sitting before it snapped. So I've just got the verniers and basically measured the diameter, and it's 14 mil. So we can basically come around and do 7 mil dots from a few different angles. It's not going to be perfect to the absolute nanometer, but it'll be good enough. Alright, so we've just drilled our pilot hole with our teensy little bit, nice and slow, bit of lube. So we're basically just got to drill a slightly bigger, like what's this, like a bit bigger than an 8 or something?
Yeah, about 4 mil.
Man, that's, for a hardened shaft, that's actually pretty straightforward.
It's those drill bits, mate.
It is. They are super sharp. Alright, so now what we're going to do is go through with a 5 mil, because we're going to use a 6 mil thread. And we've kind of changed the plan since you last saw us, but we'll let you in on that secret later on. Alright, so we have officially tapped our thread into the clutch fork rod end, whatever you call it. So that, yeah, for not being in a machine shop, that is pretty true.
We do have to go deeper.
We'll just cut the bolt shorter.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay, so what we're going to do is Where's the doodah?
Doodah.
So we're thinking instead of tapping that now, because if we tap that, chances are we won't be able to get where it originally sat perfectly aligned. So we're going to drill just a straight 6mm hole so it's just sleeved, and then we're going to use this to tighten down and put a lot of pressure basically on top of that,
down.
and then we'll do a weld around where it's snapped and also around the head. So it'll have basically a good bit of torsional strength there and also there. Like really that weld there should be stronger than the base metal.
And now you've got a whole dowel through the thing supporting it.
So I think we'll be definitely on the money, but
yeah, stronger than factory.
Yeah. Alright guys, so we've had some success so far. We've basically managed to drill a pretty central hole through that. We're going to start laying a bead down basically around there. So we've got to basically put a little bit of heat into it, let it cool down, just so we don't stuff up that seal. Otherwise we're going to do the whole shaft job, which we're trying to avoid in the first place. Isn't that right?
Yeah, please.
Tell you what, she takes some heat to get a puddle started. Well, we've done it. We managed to not melt the seal. Managed to do a seriously strong weld on that, and now it's the Phillips head clutch fork shaft. There, what's the sit about there? Basically that will now slip on like so. Work as per normal.
Stronger than ever.
It is. It's actually probably stronger than it originally was.
I'm not going to snap that one.
And our little trick for keeping the heat down, wet rag wrapped around the shaft. Do a little like 5mm weld at a time, cool it back down. Seemed to work pretty well. Alright guys, so we are done. Box is bolted back, as you can see there. And if Brett wants to push in the pedal and prove that it works. Beautiful. I don't think we'll be seeing any more snapperoonies. And of course, we're almost finished this, but the starter motor's decided to pack itself in. So